What's up, guys? This is The Last Word. It's been a while. I'm your host, Nick D. Ray, here with my co-hosts Fletcher Ferris and Scott Gewurz. For those of you viewing this on my Instagram account, Trailblazers PC, this is from our YouTube, link in bio, that I co-created with a couple of my close friends several years ago. We're going to be posting more frequently. We've been finishing up our senior year of high school. This YouTube channel will definitely start to have more of a Blazer focus. In this video, we'll be talking about what the Blazers should do this offseason, what players should we target, and who should be our new head coach. All right, who would like to start us off on the players that we should target?
Why don't you start us off, because you're the Blazers man.
All right, well, there's a couple of guys that I think we should go up. I think the biggest holes that we have in our roster is that as much as I love this backcourt of Dame and CJ, I'm not sure it's the best plan to keep on going with this, especially with...
run its course.
I think it's run its course.
We're going to get any farther than we're going with Dame, and CJ is his number 2.
And don't get me wrong, I love CJ, and I love Dame, but...
Great guy, but...
I think it's time that we split them up and find someone that's a better fit.
Finals one year. Okay, they've been together, 5-6 years now?
Yeah.
I love CJ. He's never been an all-star. And I know the West has had really good guards, so it's not entirely his fault. But the truth is, CJ on a championship team is probably a 3. He's not a 2. And Dame in this series went out of his mind. That Game 5 performance was utterly ridiculous, and CJ couldn't buy a shot. And the other thing, too, like you mentioned, Nick, is, it's not just... Maybe CJ could be a 2 on another team.
You mean the second option,
and Dame,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Him and Dame do so much of the same stuff that it's like, neither guy plays defense. Neither guy, but both of them are small guards who go and get their own shot. So there's a lot of overlap between skill set. Maybe if CJ was a number 2 to a big man who could dunk and do different things, but it's kind of like we don't have anyone who's a phenomenal perimeter defender, maybe Rocco, but he can't really carry his weight on the offensive side of the ball. What we need, especially in the West, LeBron James, Devin Booker, Kawhi Leonard, all these guys, Kevin Durant in the East, right? You need like a 6'8" wing player who can play defense, shoot threes, and is a solid 20-point per game scorer. A Chris Middleton, a Paul George, someone like that. And CJ is a really nice complementary piece. But I think in order to acquire someone who can really be paired with Dame to make a championship run while we have this top 10 player in the prime of his career, we're going to have to trade CJ.
Yeah, we're going to have to dish out CJ to somebody else. I really hope we're able to keep Norm, because Norman Powell has been...
He's a great fit.
He's a great fit.
He's a great defender,
alongside somebody like Dame. He's a much better defender than CJ is. He's a really good corner 3 spot-up shooter. He's an underrated finisher. I really like how he meshes with Portland a lot, actually. And like we were trying to get at earlier, CJ needs to be dished if we're going to make a splash and try to trade for somebody like a Chris Middleton or maybe a Jimmy Butler or somebody along those lines. Because, if we keep running the Dame and CJ and Norm lineup, we can't have 3-6-2, 6'3" guys.
Here's my thing, is that I think Norm is not a better player than CJ. Don't get me wrong. CJ,
for sure.
CJ is a top 35 player in the NBA, top 30 player in the NBA.
CJ's better, easily.
Yeah, easily the better player. But the fit is so important in today's NBA. You really need to be able to match.
Cold just does not
it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Especially, Dame also runs hot and cold sometimes, but he's definitely a more consistent player, And I think CJ is a hell of a player, but he's pretty much the same player as Dame, except for, Dame is a little bit more consistent. He's, got a better IQ. He's a better shooter. He's got more to his game. There's a bunch of players that I could think of to, try and target this offseason. But first, I think we should talk about the holes real quick. I think, one, a bench center is definitely something that I think we need to target.
Yeah.
Somebody who can cut.
Nurkic just gets in foul trouble.
And then Cantor, I love Cantor.
We had to put Covington on Jokic.
Yeah.
And that was...
I like Cantor.
I love Cantor. He's such a good guy.
He's such a cool dude.
Yeah.
The issue is that outside of rebounding offensively, not even defensively, outside of rebounding offensively, he does nothing. Like, he comes
Well, I mean,
in
he's a
off
good
the bench.
scorer and he's a good screen setter, but
he's
other
an
than that,
okay scorer, okay screen setter, you know.
But it's just the
he comes
defense.
off, yeah, he
It's
comes
the
in off the
defense.
bench, and his defense is such a bad issue that he'll have like a minus 15 plus minus.
You know, I'd
in
love
5
to
minutes.
get a big man
And
who's a little more athletic too.
I agree.
Because a lot of
Yeah.
these guys, this is where Nurkic struggles too, is when he has to go up against an Anthony Davis
Mm.
or even a Jokic who can play on the perimeter a little bit, who can shoot, who can drive by him. You know, Nurkic is solid, kind of one-on-one guarding you by the rim. But one, he's not really a jumper and like a team rim defender, and two, he's too slow to move at the perimeter.
Nurk, I really want to keep Nurk this offseason, to be honest. I think Nurk
sure.
can be our center of the future.
He's our center.
It seems like he is
If he
confused
can
about
just
his place
stay
in.
healthy, he's more
He's
than good.
he's more than I think he's a top 10 center in the
He's a top
NBA
10
easily.
He's about in the like 9 to 12 range of centers when
I'd
he's,
probably
when he's
put him.
healthy.
Yeah, I'd probably
You
put
know?
him 8 to 10. Yeah, but
Yeah, sure. I'll say 8 to 12.
Did you say 9 to 10 and Nick said
no, he said 9
I
to 12.
said 9 to 12.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
it's whatever. It's similar range. Yeah.
What I like about Nurk is that he's a good passer. He can score. He can defend. He's just not a perimeter defender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as I was saying,
He's too slow to play on them.
back on the Cantor track, is that if we're gonna re-sign Melo, which I kind of hope we do, because I
Good
think
point.
Melo
I
is
think we will.
I think Melo is a hell of a player, and having him off our bench is a steal. But if we can sign someone other than Cantor that can come off the bench with Melo and not just completely destroy our defense, because having Melo and Cantor on the floor at the same time just doesn't work. It simply doesn't, right?
No, it doesn't.
So there's a couple of guys that I think would actually be pretty decent fits. One of them is Goga Badots. I think off the Pacers.
Oh,
But that-
This is a guy that we could get for a little bit cheaper, right?
Yeah.
He was a rookie 2 years ago, right, with Zion.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a great rim defender. You know,
he gets a lot of blocks.
he gets a lot of blocks for his minutes. I don't think he's very happy in the Pacers. I remember seeing a video of him just getting
Miles
yelled at.
Turner is a good rim defender.
Yeah, and they don't really
he
need
doesn't have that big of a role.
Yeah. The number one option that I would go to for a big man right now for the Blazers is Nerlens Noel.
Like
Easily.
off the bench, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, no,
He's-
for my Knicks, he was a really solid player. He hit his free throws in big games. He was a great rim defender. Obviously, he's not the player we thought he was going to be when he was drafted, and he's probably only going to give you 6 to 10 points a game.
But
that's
he's
cool.
elite.
But that's not.
on the
We're not.
defensive end.
We're not asking for him to score. We have
No,
scorers.
he's
in
a
Portland.
really good defensive sub.
Yeah. Here's my thing: is that he's also a mobile center. He
He's
may not
athletic.
be. He may not be built like Nurk. He's not a big dude, but like for his length, he is excellent at moving and blocking shots. He's a solid perimeter defender. I believe he averages like 1.2 steals and like 2 blocks this season. He averages like 6 points. He's always been a phenomenal defender, and I think if we could have that guy like Nerlens Noel, I know he gets into foul trouble too sometimes. I've seen him. I used to have him on my fantasy team.
If he's a sub and Nurkic is a starter, I'm
Yeah.
not too worried.
I would not be
I'm
worried
not
about
too
it.
worried.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that like I think it would fit so well with Portland. The thing is, you can't have so many offensive players that can play defense, but you can have a lot of players that are bad offense and great at defense, right? I feel like defense and offense are so hard to compare in today's NBA about like which is more important, right? But the best teams have a good enough defense just to keep up. Like Portland's defense the last few years
What was
has
it ranked
been
28th in the league
horrible.
this year?
It was 29th actually.
29th.
And I think
so
the only team was like Timberwolves or something like
second
that.
second worst mark defensively in the league, only followed up by the worst team in the NBA.
CJ doesn't guard anyone, and he's a really good scorer. But having a backcourt that's elite at scoring, like the Clay and Steph,
Clay's a great defender.
Clay's
he
a fantastic
fits so
defender.
perfectly with Steph. Like I remember people were saying when the Blazers were playing the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals a couple years back. It was like, oh, are Dame and CJ challenging Steph and Clay for the best
No.
backcourt in the West? It's
Here's the
like,
thing.
No, because Dame and CJ do the same thing, and Dame just does it better.
Mm-hmm.
And Steph and Clay just takes all the tough guard matchups defensively and
Exactly.
just spots up and shoots threes. He's
Yeah.
like the ultra 3-and-D guy. He never dribbles.
Mm-hmm.
Curry is incredible handle, cooks you at the ball. He moves off the ball too, which is nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm
He's
saying.
a finisher.
is that when we played the Warriors, we got swept. We get swept almost every time we play the Warriors just because they have such a perfect fitting team. They fit so exactly.
And,
Is that everybody's like, oh, Curry destroys Dame? No, he doesn't.
Well, yeah, because Dame is guarded by
Dame's guarded by Clay. You know who's Curry's guarded by?
Like CJ.
Dame or CJ.
Yeah,
right?
He's guarded by Dame or CJ.
And Dame's not even that bad of a defender.
Dame's
He just
fine,
can't.
But he's no Clay, who's 6'7".
Yeah, and even then, is that Dame is more of a defender on guys that are a little bit bigger. Like he actually does a good job against guys like Michael Porter Jr. or Tatum when he's guarding up.
He did a good job on Russ.
He does a great job on Russ, but Curry's a little bit more agile.
He struggles with the shifty dudes who could shoot around the perimeter,
and especially off the ball.
He struggles with the dudes like the Kyries and the Stephs.
It's rare for
defending
a true number one elite offensive scorer
to be
able
defender.
to give you, a ton of effort on the defensive end. Even guys like Kawhi Leonard, who are elite defenders historically, have had to sacrifice some of their defensive prowess as they've become better offensive players. So it's not fair, really. As great as Dame is, we can't expect him to be a top tier defender too. And so having
he's averaging 30 points every year,
who is an elite defender, outside of, and who can also contribute offensively, unlike Covington, no disrespect, would be really, really valuable to us.
Yeah, another thing is that, like, as you were saying, Damian Lillard is a pretty solid defender, and that's kind of what happened with the Nuggets in Game 6, is that Dame didn't really have the best offensive night. I mean, he still had 28 points.
28 and 13 was enough to get the job done.
But
CJ was like 7 of 22.
Yeah, here's the problem, though, is that Dame kind of slowed down his offensive role in that second half because he decided to guard Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr.
has like 8 inches on Dame.
Oh yeah, Michael Porter
massive.
Jr. had 22 points in the first quarter. He absolutely dominated our defense, and then Dame switched onto him, and I think he finished with 28.
Yeah.
Right?
Who was MPJ getting guarded by?
It was Norm and CJ kept getting switched
Norm
on him
and
too.
CJ.
Yeah.
Because they would just hawk for screens to get Norm and CJ switched onto him, and then he was like, "Oh, Dame's just like the other two. I can deal with them." But Dame was effective defensively against MPJ, which was weird considering the height advantage. But
Dame's a tough dude.
Yeah,
the problem is, it's insanity just trying the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. And every year, and it's so frustrating, the Blazers just make minor moves and shift pieces around Dame and CJ. And it's going from Mo Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu to Evan Turner and Kent Bazemore to Robert Covington, and we just bring in all these guys.
Mario Hezonja,
Enes Kanter,
Anthony Tolliver.
Don't remind me.
The Gary Trent Norman Powell move was at least a little bit more of a bigger move.
I actually did like that move. I still think it's a good move because I don't think we would have been able to keep Gary Trent.
But even then, Norm is not, big enough to really push us over that hump.
Yeah, I think
CJ.
What we need to do is we need to play him at the 2 for 1. He's a good defender, but I don't think he can guard guys that are straight up 5 inches taller than him.
He's not going to be able to guard the 3 effectively. He's going to guard guards really well.
He actually does a very solid job of guarding.
He's going to guard the guards very well.
He's a physical guard.
What we need to do is we need to move CJ, and I know, Nick, you and I have touched on this in the past, like a 3-team trade with
I talked about this. Yeah,
with like Toronto and Philly.
Yeah, I could
send in CJ. Yeah, you have the exact trade.
Yeah,
right?
I was thinking maybe like a 3-way trade. Thank you. A 3-way trade with the Sixers and the Raptors, and what we could do is trade CJ over to the Sixers, right? And then the Sixers pour in young talent towards the Raptors.
I don't know if the Sixers had the cap. But
I know, but worst case scenario, they could throw in someone like Tobias Harris, and I know Tobias Harris is out ahead of the season.
He's very valuable, but
CJ's is good.
CJ's is good.
Yeah.
But what I would like about this move is that what I think we could get out of the Raptors for a bunch of young players is Boucher and Pascal. And why I say that is...
If you give Boucher and Pascal, that's great.
That would be
Boucher fills that defensive 6-man hole.
He also can stretch the floor. Pascal can stretch. Pascal is a very... How do I say this? He's super versatile.
Pascal last year and this year was they asked him
first
to be
option.
the 1.
Yeah.
And Pascal's a great player, but there's a reason he was like a
he's never going to be a 1.
He was perfect as a 2 to
with Kawhi on the Raptors, that was an incredible team.
Nice.
Yeah.
But as soon as Pascal started drawing double teams and stuff is when issues come.
Yeah.
Because he's not a guy who's able to, he's a
Then he
great
started
player.
spinning left and right.
Yeah.
Out of control.
And
It
he's,
was a cyclone of Pascal.
He's also
Siakam.
one of
But
the
if you-
least clutch players in the entire NBA. But the thing
Dame
about
is
him,
the clutchest player.
Dame is the clutchest player in the NBA.
And so
right?
if you give a dude like Pascal Dame to work with,
So
well, who are
hold
they
on,
double
though. We
teaming?
give Philly
we give Philly
CJ,
CJ, right?
And we get Pascal and Boucher. So
Philly sends over
what the
tons
hell
of young
does
talent.
Toronto get?
Here's the thing: they get young talent.
Toronto
they get
needs to rebuild.
They'd probably get like Matisse Thybulle or someone like
Tyrese
on that,
Maxey.
right?
Tyrese
Tyrese
Maxey,
Maxey.
Matisse,
I'm
yeah.
not saying all of these players, but I'm saying some of these players.
Yeah.
right?
But if
Obviously,
Toronto's giving up Pascal and Boucher, that is young talent.
no, they're not
No.
actually. Boucher is 28 or
Boucher's
29, and
28.
Pascal is like 27.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They need to go into
the
rebuild
Raptors.
mode.
The Raptors are going full rebuild mode.
Yeah.
They're going to trade Kyle Lowry this
Like-
offseason. They're going to trade.
Well, isn't Kyle Lowry
they
just
gotta
a free
start-
agent?
No, he's got another year on his
The,
contract. I
the
think.
only
he's
dude
the-
I see the
he's
Raptors need probably wanting to keep and retain, and it'd be a good move, is like OG Anunoby.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
what, 23?
And Gary Trent. They're going to want to
Really
keep
good.
Gary
Oh yeah,
Trent.
for sure, Gary. OG and Gary, I think
No,
they keep
but,
them
you know,
and they
gotta
rebuild
get more
around
than
them.
Matisse
Oh,
Thybulle
I know.
and Tyrese Maxey.
I'm saying
Yeah.
I'm saying that they would get more than that.
That was
If
just a couple
worst
of
comes to worst, they
examples.
could get like Tobias or someone like that, right?
Yeah.
Along those lines. And I know Tobias is a good player, but I think Philly would be
Yeah.
more than happy to give that up for a guy
CJ?
like
For a
CJ.
CJ, yeah,
Okay.
because they need shooting.
CJ's a shot creator. Like
He's a shot creator.
He's
he
clutch.
He can knock
CJ's
down
a
the
clutch
three.
player. You know, he can stretch the floor for them, and he's a consistent scorer that they could have as the second option on
Yeah.
the offense, right?
So something like that would be great.
Mm.
If the Bucks flop again in the playoffs, then maybe they try to switch up their formula, and we could try to
I don't
get
think
someone
the
like a
Bucks-
Chris Middleton. I think they're
been
gonna.
saying
I think
we
they're
should
gonna
trade
make the
CJ for
finals.
Middleton.
I said that. I was with you when we talked
for
about
both
this.
teams, but I just don't think.
I don't think it would fit.
I don't think they move
I think
Middleton.
it would be kind of an even move because even then Middleton's a solid defender, but he's not the type of defense we need, right? Like
It's better
you
than
don't want
CJ.
him. I would rather have Pascal on LeBron than.
Well, no, I don't think the Bucks would trade for CJ.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but that was. Just
Well, I mean, I
another
think it would actually be a
example.
really nice fit with the Bucks, but I don't think Portland would actually think that would be. I don't think that would be a good move. I think that would be another flatline move that just
Yeah.
keeps us in the same place.
And then the third move that I really like the idea of is if we're able to.
Get Jimmy buckets.
Yeah.
Oh, I've
get-
been saying this forever.
Get
Jimmy
Jimmy
Butler should
buckets
totally
and,
come to
and
Portland.
retain Norm, so we'd have a starting lineup of like
I would do just about everything to get Jimmy Butler. to come
Dame,
to
Norm,
Portland.
Jimmy buckets, and like Rocco and Nurk. That would be a really good lineup.
Yeah, we would have to trade up more than CJ though to get Jimmy Butler because Jimmy Butler,
I'd throw CJ in the
Jimmy-
first in for Jimmy.
Jimmy's a top.
CJ in a first. I don't.
That's not going to work. Jimmy
Not
Butler is
gonna
a
work.
top 15 player in the NBA, right?
Jimmy Butler's like what 30?
Yeah, but
Like,
CJ's like
32.
29.
No, after you want to buy low, right? And that might bite us. But like this is as low as Jimmy Butler. I mean, last offseason it was Jimmy Butler. Like Colin Cowherd said, the guy's as valuable as LeBron. You know what I mean? And like obviously that's a reach. But the point is,
He's a hell of a
Jimmy
player.
Butler, after taking the Heat to the finals and dropping a 40-point triple-double,
Is-
right,
Yeah.
was a lot harder
Skyrocketed
to
his
trade
worth.
for than Jimmy Butler after shooting 25% from the field and getting swept in the first round.
Yeah.
So, you know, Jimmy is going to come at a cheaper price right now, but like you mentioned, he's over 30 and, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But Portland
Jimmy's
is win
good.
now.
But I'm trying
I
to
would
think-
love to pair Dame with
Here's the
If-
thing is that I don't know who we would trade over there for Jimmy Butler. I think again we would have to do some
Obviously
kind of three-way
with
trade.
CJ.
Yeah, we'd have to give. Unless we did a three-way.
Yeah, a three-way trade could work out.
Maybe,
But
maybe again with the Sixers
finding a way to get Jimmy buckets.
to Portland,
to Portland would be
such a
fantastic.
perfect fit.
Would
And
be
I think Jimmy
fantastic.
Butler and Dame would be like the perfect personalities to work together.
And then this last take by me is quite blasphemous, but it's possible considering Kawhi. You know, if the Clips
If
flop,
we're getting
he might
Kawhi-
not take the player option.
we
and
we would have to do.
There's a very slight chance
Kawhi's
that he could
not
come to
signing
Portland,
with
but he's not
Portland.
going to sign with
If we
Portland.
wanted Kawhi, it'd have to be in like a sign and trade.
Yeah,
We'd
that's
have
what I
to
said.
Trade Dame for Kawhi.
uh,
Look, we're not getting Kawhi.
We're not getting
giving
Kawhi.
up CJ McCollum.
Yeah, we're not
I'm
giving
sorry.
up CJ for Kawhi, but there was a far cry. You know, it's in my dreams.
we would have to probably give up like CJ, Nurk, and multiple first-round picks just to get him.
yeah,
but,
it would be a massive.
Yeah, cool. Because
But
Kawhi
even
is
then-
on that Dame level player.
Even
Like
then, it
Kawhi's
would
a
be
Jimmy Butler's like one stage below that, and he's a hell of a player. Don't get me wrong; he's like that 10 to 15. Dame and Kawhi are in arguments with
Kawhi's
like
a
top
stage
7.
above Dame. No
I
disrespect.
don't know.
Kawhi's got defensive.
Yeah, I know
players.
you're also a Clippers fan, so
I like the Blazers.
I take
more
some
than
of
the
your words
Clippers
with a grain of
fan.
salt.
Listen,
Well,
man,
it's not that
Kawhi's
he's a
got
Clippers
defensive
fan.
player
It's
of
that
the
he's a
year.
Kawhi
He's
Yes.
got
boy.
rings.
Okay, please bring up something other than past history. Talk about right now. Dame just dropped.
Okay, right
Kawhi's
now-
having a hell of a game,
Right
hell of a
now-
playoffs. Don't get me
right
wrong.
now, Dame just lost in the first
Okay,
round.
let's talk
And
about
Kawhi
fit.
Leonard just came
Talk
back
about fit.
down 2-0.
Okay, no
on the
yelling.
road
We're not yelling.
Against Luka Doncic, who was playing
I'm
out
just
of his
saying.
mind. Kawhi averaged better numbers than Dame.
Let's talk about.
in
Okay,
his
first
playoff
off,
series.
I'm just saying the Mavs are a great team, but they don't really have the fit around
The
Luka.
Mavs are as good as the Nuggets.
I'd say
I'd
yeah.
say they're better.
But the thing is
Without
that this Blazer team
'Cause
just
Luka's
doesn't.
as good
Let me
as
speak.
Jokic.
This Blazers team doesn't fit together quite like the Clippers do, and the Clippers are moving into the second round because they actually fit pretty well together. They've got a good fit around them. They've got shoot. They are the
fair.
number one 3-point shooting team in the league by far. They're one of the best
They
defensive teams in the
got they
league.
got PG.
They've got Serge
Reggie,
Ibaka. They got Kawhi.
Serge.
They've got all these players in them.
Serge has been hurt and didn't play a single minute.
As Drip Bayless would say, they've got Pandemic R in Rajon Rondo, who's other than this first series against the Mavericks.
He's got one of the highest IQs in the history of
He,
basketball.
he's got a really good track record in the
Kawhi
playoffs.
Leonard, okay, before closing out the Mavericks with a Game 7 where he had 28 points, 10 boards, and 9 assists on 67% shooting,
Still
with
missing that
4
triple.
steals and 0 turnovers. Okay, before that, his playoff numbers this year were 33 points, 7.5 boards, 4 assists. Shot 61% from the field, 88% at the line, and 43%.
Okay, hear me.
from three. And he's a far better defender than Dame.
Here's the thing: is
This
that
is true.
one, they have a better ball movement than Blazers. So Blazers play a lot of ISO ball through Damian Lillard,
All right.
and he still shot 45% from 3 this series. 45. He set the record.
Dame is
Let's-
easily a better 3-point shooter.
I'm
Yeah,
saying
we're
that
not arguing
I'm saying
that.
that as a team, the Clippers have a better fit around Kawhi, so Kawhi is going to average better numbers. That's how it works, right? When you have a team that fits well with you, you're going to win more games, and you're probably going to average more numbers, unless you move from a third option.
And the Clippers have been kind of notorious for chemistry problems.
Yeah,
fit
but this
problems,
year with
trading
Rajon Rondo as an
mid-season
IQ
for
player,
Rondo.
they got a bunch of
I don't know,
defensive
dude.
players.
They started winning this series when they kind of benched Rondo and started
But I
playing
mean,
Terrence Mann.
see, I'm not saying that Rajon Rondo on the court is what they need. I think I'm saying that Rajon Rondo is like that LeBron. I'm obviously not saying he's not on the level of LeBron.
Okay.
But I feel like we're kind of also going off
Boys,
track.
back to
We're going
the
off track.
subject.
Back
at
to the
hand.
subject.
All right, so we've discussed some roster moves. What about the coaching staff?
Oh, okay. I have a few more players. That I'll just
A few more players.
Speak,
Okay,
of,
just
speak their name.
spew
in
them out real quick.
T.J. Warren, I think, would actually be a pretty nice fit. The
Yeah.
thing is that he's more like a
Expensive.
Middleton.
If he's
he's
healthy.
like a Middleton, but like a couple stages. Below.
He's going to
But
be
still.
a little expensive, but I
No,
like
but I
him.
would like T.J. Warren.
I think he's a nice
not,
player.
He's not a game changer.
He's not a terrible
but
defender. He's like a
is-
Norman
wait,
Powell
is-
type.
Is Warren a free agent, or would we have to trade for
I
him?
think we would also have to trade for him, but I don't really know what we would trade for
I
him.
just don't know what we would trade for him.
Um,
I mean, Nurkic would
Ben
have to
Simmons,
be a
I know
player.
this is a shot in the dark, but I feel
hate
like that.
Ben Simmons.
Well,
I think it would be a really
on.
nice fit.
Ben Simmons is a bum.
If Philly loses in
And it's
5
'cause of
games
Ben
to
Simmons.
Atlanta, and obviously, for all I know, Philly could win the next 4 and gentlemen sweep them. But if Philly loses to Atlanta this year, Simmons might very well be on the market.
Oh yeah.
Okay, especially considering Daryl Morey was interested in moving Simmons for James Harden earlier. And, with the way Sixers fans felt after last year was kind of like, let's give it one more year with the new coach and see what happens before we break up Embiid and Simmons.
I mean, and if they lose to the
Embiid's
Hawks,
the MVP this year. Okay, so if they lose to the Hawks, there's a good
Embiid's
chance
not
Simmons
the
is
MVP.
available.
yeah.
No, it's going to be Jokic.
It's
but
gonna
that's
be
just because
Jokic.
Embiid
But,
got hurt.
and the
That's
reason
because
why I
he
think-
Embiid's playing at an MVP level.
Yeah.
The reason why I would think it would be Ben Simmons is on the market is that Tobias Harris has been having a hell of a season. Tobias Harris has been playing well, so I don't think they would trade Tobias away.
You'd move Simmons.
They've got Seth Curry, George Hill,
Yeah.
Danny Green. Danny Green's obviously not that good, but I mean, I'm just saying that they've all been playing well together.
They've
I
got
mean,
chemistry.
Simmons
in
But
the
players.
4 would
the
be
fit doesn't work that well because they're not the best 3-point shooting team with Ben Simmons.
Well, they've got good shooters.
they've got
now,
good shooters, but
Simmons
they're
is still just
the fit is just not really there.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't
Yeah.
shoot
But
free
Ben
throws.
Simmons
doesn't shoot jump shots.
What I think of Ben Simmons, what his role be like, is like Draymond Green plus, being a better offensive player, like
Better on-ball defense.
better
too.
on-ball defender too.
Yeah.
Maybe not the team
Rotation.
defender.
Not the rotational IQ
Yeah.
of a Draymond Green.
But I think it would be a really nice fit here in Portland.
No, but you could put Ben Simmons on any of the best perimeter players in the West.
Oh, easily.
Well, yeah, he's my defensive player of the year.
I'd probably gotta go Gobert, but still,
It's gonna go to Gobert, but I
Derrick
think
Jones Jr.
Derrick Jones Jr.
Okay, shut up. Gobert's different subject. He's super overrated in my book.
It's
but
weird comparing big man.
Yeah,
defense.
it's really
to
hard.
small
I feel like
man
they might even
defense.
split up the award
like,
these
Curry
days.
gets switched on to Gobert.
When you're talking about
you
like
know, it's
value as a defensive player, Ben Simmons is way more valuable.
I still
to
got
me
Gobert in that
to have
category.
on the court and to play defense against the best player on the other team. Whereas Gobert, he's like the best.
Fewer players that Gobert can guard.
Yeah,
Gobert can't guard anybody outside of fives and a
Jokic
few
and-
fours.
Yeah.
We're starting to go
Like-
off topic a little bit, but
Okay,
I'm just saying that Ben Simmons, you all agree with me. I think he would be, other than maybe Fletch.
I don't like
think
Ben.
he's a really good fit here in Portland, just because I think he's a
I
great
don't know
defender.
about a
That
really
can
good
add.
fit, but it'd be interesting.
It'd be an interesting trade. I think it would be an interesting
Cap.
one. DeMarcus Cousins would be a nice bench center. I think
Off the bench.
What does he
Off the
have
bench.
left, man?
Off
you know,
the bench,
I
he still can play. He's still a good defender. Is the thing. He's still a very solid defender. He can score.
Does he have any lateral movement left? in
Maybe
them
not,
knees,
but, like,
man?
Look, acquiring
He's got the
DeMarcus-
size.
Acquiring DeMarcus would be a fun
Okay, Cantor
pickup.
has.
I think it'll be another nice
Cantor
pick.
has the size
I think
too.
I
That
think
doesn't
he's
mean that.
no. But I'm
Cantor's
saying
a
is that
good
he
defender.
has the size and like he's still athletic is the thing. He may not be prime DeMarcus, but he's still a tough player. He's actually got a pretty good IQ on defense. Like if you remember he played the Blazers what was it, like 5 months ago or something like that.
Was he on the Rockets?
Yeah, he was on the Rockets at the time. And he was actually just a tough all-around player that did a really good job against guarding Cantor.
The Clips right now. So.
Yeah, I know. The Clips are kind of a weird team though, especially with the Mavericks because they've got like a skinnier.
You're not probably.
You're not going to play a big time
I think
center
Cousins
against them.
hurt too or something.
Yeah,
Boogie couldn't guard the people on that.
Boogie would be a nice pickup, I guess.
I guess
I
he'd
think
be
it
on
would
the
be just a
bench.
nice
I don't
player
know
to
how
have
much
on the
of a
bench.
difference.
I would prefer the fit
would-
over Cantor.
It wouldn't put us over the
that's
top.
fair.
Yeah,
That's
over
what I'm
Cantor,
saying.
that's fair.
It's a better fit than Cantor. But Cantor's a hell of a guy, good player, but just not the fit here. Tim Hardaway Jr. I actually do like this player.
Is he a free agent?
I think he actually is this year.
He would be a nice add.
He's a
If
solid
we traded
defender.
away CJ, he
Yeah.
could replace CJ.
That's
I
like
mean, he'd be okay, but I just don't think he puts us over the top.
Yeah, I agree. That's another
If we
move that
trade
kind of puts us,
CJ for like a Pascal Siakam.
True, yeah,
and
no.
Sign Hardaway to
And
be
then
two,
sign
I like
Hardaway
it.
to
or
be
the
our-
three,
our
and then
two.
have Norm as the
Three,
two.
Yeah,
But
'cause
just
Hardaway's
signing
big enough to
Hardaway
play.
on his own
Yeah.
isn't doing enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one last guy. I've been hearing this word. Oh, actually, two guys. Actually, I've been hearing two
the
guys.
Last word, perhaps.
I've heard two guys a lot lately in Blazer trades, and one is Cat, and two is Miles Turner.
I've
Cat
been hearing Cat a
is
lot, and I don't like
Trash. I don't know. Cat is a hell of a player.
Well, Cat's
You think
not
he's-
trash,
No,
but
he's
his
not
defense
trash,
is
but
trash.
his defense is trash.
His
Here's the thing,
defense
he-
is like Cantor-esque.
He's another guy.
Cantor-esque.
He's another guy that you
I think-
have to, bet on his injuries because he actually has been quite injury prone throughout his career.
No, but even if Cat is healthy, man, I don't think he's that great of a fit. We don't need another guy who can shoot threes,
Yeah.
and score, and play no defense.
I wasn't saying that I
need
like this,
more
but I'm
defense.
just saying that it's important to include him in this
Yeah,
discussion.
he has
considering
been
that
talked about.
He's
a
been
lot.
talked about a lot. He's a good passer. He's a good shooter. He's a great shooter.
Yeah.
Great scorer. Good rebounder. But his defense, again, I think that's another move that's not the right fit for a champion. If we want to contend for a championship, we got to be perfect as like a fit on the team. Like we need to have players that fit well together.
We need great chemistry.
Unless you got like 3 top 15, top
Superstar.
20
Oh, yeah.
players.
Cough,
You need a
Brooklyn
great fit.
Nets,
Yeah, Golden
some
State Warriors.
Golden
Yeah.
State Warriors
Lakers
of the
with
past.
2 of the top 5 last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
Bubble guppies.
and then
Bubble guppies.
and then another player that I've been hearing a lot about is Miles Turner. I've heard a lot of Blazer fans talk about trying to acquire Miles Turner.
It wouldn't be bad.
And I've heard that the
wouldn't be
Pacers.
bad.
I've heard the Pacers. I've looked at like Pacers fan accounts.
If
and
the
stuff like that.
if the
The
Pacers,
Pacers
are
fans don't really want to keep Miles Turner because he's not the one. This is the biggest turnoff about Miles Turner. He's a horrible rebounder. It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't he average like 6
He
boards
averages
a
like
game?
6
Yeah.
boards a game
He's
as
a
a
really
big
big
man
dude.
playing like 29 minutes, and
That's bad.
Don't get me wrong. One of the best defenders in the league, easily. I think he
We
averaged
could-
like
we could use
3.7
some
blocks this year.
rebounding.
Yeah.
Through the first like couple months of the season, he was my defensive
He
player
was
of the year.
averaging like 4.5 blocks a game.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was absolutely
Oh,
ridiculous.
he was insane. Yeah, I mean, we played fantasy together this year, and anyone that had Miles Turner on fantasy was just destroying everybody else on defense, right?
Yeah, when it came to blocks, yeah.
You know who we should trade for? LeBron James and LaMelo Ball.
You know, I agree. Ben House the highlights would just be all over us all day.
Maybe we'd actually
And
get some
we
attention.
get some freaking free agents.
Yeah.
Man.
We just need, like, that's the issue with Portland. If we're gonna make a splash, it's not gonna be through the free agent market, likely, because we're a smaller market.
Yeah.
We have to trade.
Yeah, the best free agent we could get would be like a Tim Hardaway guy.
Yeah.
Level player. And
But I think that would actually be a nice player to go after. I think that would be a
Yeah.
nice player to go. But I think the ideal situation this offseason is to keep Dame, Norm, and Nurk. I think Nurk can be fine, but we need to get a bench guy like Nerlens
I
Noel.
mean,
One more thing. I don't know if it's this year or maybe next. Yeah, I think it's next summer. Julius Randle is a free agent. And
Not a good defender, but he's still a good
I know
player.
he just had a tough playoff series, and maybe he's not a number one.
He's great.
But if
though.
we could just sign him as a free agent, again, kind of a reach, but build a team with Dame and Julius,
Yeah.
I think he would be a very nice fit.
Yeah.
You know, want to hear something funny?
What?
Is that I think it was 2 years ago when he joined the Knicks, right? I DM'd him and said, "Hey, please come to the Blazers." Like 2 years ago, I sent him that in his DMs. He never, I don't think he saw it or replied or anything.
Makes
But
sense.
I thought it was
Makes
so
sense.
funny
I mean,
because
he's
like
an
2 years
NBA
ago,
player.
I was like, "Please come
And
to the Blazers."
some random
But-
dude named Nicholas is just, hey, come to
And
Portland.
it was 'cause
500.
it was after he dropped 45 points or so against Cantor. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was brutal. But I think he's a good player, but I'm not really sure about the fit. He's like a Cat type player. Obviously, I don't think Cat and him are on the same level, but I'm saying that he's got a lot of the
Great
same
offense,
pros
but
that
Matt
Cat
He
has.
can play make really nicely for a big
Yeah, but
guy.
so can Cat. Cat averages like 5 assists for a center, which is really good. But I think the best situation is keep Nurk, keep Dame, keep Norm, and then go after
Insert
Pascal.
at least one
Boucher.
star in the 3 or 4 position,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
another guy who's just really good at defense.
I agree. I think that would be the best situation. All right. Well, now I think we could talk a little bit about the coaches because we've been talking for 30 minutes about
And
players
let
that the
me
Blazers
just
go after.
preface by saying this, whoever we hire as a coach, obviously Stotts this past year had a lot of infuriating decisions, but whoever we hire as a coach will not put us over the hump if we just keep this roster.
No, a
Not at all.
coach makes a
Personnel
good team
decisions-
great.
The personnel decisions are a lot more important. And, I'd love for us to get a guy like Chauncey Billups, who's one of
Player
the names
coach,
who's been
yeah.
thrown out there. But again, basketball, coaches just don't have the same kind of impact that they do in sports like football. You know, it's a superstar-driven league, and the truth is, if you can just get a guy who can manage egos well, like Ty Lue, for example. He did a really good job of managing egos with LeBron and Kyrie Kevin Love for like a year or two. And then they left, and then the Cavs win like 9 games out of like 70, and he's gone immediately.
Oh, yeah.
You know
But
what I mean?
here's my thing: is that I think having a good coach is essential to having a good team. Obviously, I think fit is more important, chemistry is more important. But as a coach,
you can win
need
a
to.
title with a bad coach.
Yeah.
But you can't win a title with bad
But
players.
here's the thing: is if
exactly.
you go up against teams that have good coaches, then it's more of a 50-50.
it's important.
It's
in
way
playoffs.
more difficult because if you get a coach who can get down the assignments and rotations.
Steve Nash had never coached.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's leading one of the best offenses
But he
ever.
just
with
didn't-
James Harden,
He just
Kyrie,
inherited. He just inherited
It's kinda like,
3 insane players,
Yeah.
and then a few good role
But what I
players.
mean-
And if Spencer Dinwiddie makes a return, that's a really good team. But
What I'm saying is that a
Moving on.
coach is still super important, but it's not on the level of personnel. Like, I like this team, this Blazer team, but at the start of the year, I was like, I really love the talent. We have one of the most talented rosters on the league. We are super deep, but I'm not sure about the fit, especially with Cantor and Melo coming off the bench.
Hey,
That
can
doesn't
I
really
just
make
say
a lot of
real
sense.
quick, too?
Yeah.
Before the year, Chuck said Phoenix would be the 10 seed.
Oh yeah, Chuck is one of our other.
His reasoning was that Chris Paul was too short. This guy
He's
is
like
like
5'5". No, he's like 5'5".
He's like 5'9".
No, he's 5'5".
We routinely-
5'7", bro. I'm 5'10", and he's like at least 2 inches, if not 3 inches shorter than me. He's 5'7", like max. He's a
But
He's a little man, and I can't wait for him to listen to this.
He's a co-founder of The Last Word.
Oh, yeah. We love Chuck. But,
I love Chuck.
Anyways, I think a coach is just essential to have as like a... There's a couple of moves that Stotts... I love Stotts as a guy. He's a great dude. He's a players coach. The players love him.
He seems to just
it's like CJ.
His road. Okay,
we had no offensive game.
There was four issues.
Horrible.
One, to be a great team, you need to have a good system. Your players all need to to sacrifice to make the
When
part.
Curry and Clay kind of found a system,
It
they went
was
from really good young shooters
to
three
otherworldly.
in 5 years.
Yeah, it was because they found an off-ball system that, you can't double-team an off-ball player. Like, you can't double-team Curry on an off-ball while he's moving off the ball, right? That's impossible, right? They have such an incredible offense, and it's because the coaching took the time to, really set up that system, work with the players on, like, figuring out, like, what would be best for their talents, right? I would like it if we could implement more of an off-ball system. I think it would make us a far better team.
When Dame passes the ball, in
Usually
our
the
current
ball
system,
dies there.
It doesn't get back to it.
Yeah.
It gets
It
shot.
dies.
Yeah.
It dies, man. Because CJ's either gonna do some like slow motion juke and jive,
And we also
mid-range
take our
floater
time
or
with the
some-
shot clock, which can be aggravating. Like one player will get the ball and hold the ball for like 15 seconds, and then 9 seconds, and with like 9 seconds left,
Yeah,
they'll
and
pass
if
it
he
back
doesn't
to
get
him.
anything, then they just throw it out to Dame with like 3 seconds left.
And then he's
And
forced
they're
to
just
take
like,
like,
do something.
Yeah. Like, what I think is, one, we need to work on, implementing a good offensive system that will, have a deep playbook. Stotts, these are the things that, didn't really fit with Stotts. Is that, one, he didn't really have an offensive system. He didn't really have a lot of play calling. He had some plays that were actually working pretty well. But he did a lot of, like, curl routes where, the players would run up and, get the ball handoff from the center. But I just don't like the play. We had a really talented offensive team, but we couldn't really put together our offense to be consistent. We were never a consistent offensive team. We were, who's hot, who's cold, right? We never got a cold player back into being hot, right? When someone was having a bad night, they had a bad night. They weren't going to come back, But okay, so that was one of the things. Other thing is rotations. Especially in the playoffs, at the start of the playoffs, Cantor should not have been playing against Jokic. I love Cantor again, but we played him against stretch fives, which he cannot guard.
He was literally unplayable.
He was
I think
unplayable.
It was like game 2, we played him for like 6 minutes, and he had like a minus 20 plus.
Yes, that's what I talked about. I even
He
posted about
started
that on
playing
Instagram.
Hamilton
Yeah,
on him the rest of the game.
It was terrible.
he can't guard Jokic. He can't guard the stretch fives, and not even Nurkic. I'm saying a lot of players can't guard these stretch fives, but like it just didn't make sense, the coaching moves that he did. We could have put like Rondé Jefferson out there, and we did, and he actually did semi-well. In Game 5, Rondé had a poor game, but it seemed like the Nuggets made a really strong game plan around scoring around Rondé. What else? I think, okay, so rotations, system. Number one thing by far, though, was the defense. We had defensive talent, but the rotations didn't allow us to. Rondé Jefferson is a good defender. Rocco's a good defender. Nurkic is a good defender.
We needed to give Derrick Jones his minutes.
Derrick Jones Jr. deserved minutes. He was a good defender. Norman Powell was a good defender. But, again, this also kind of works with roster, is that we had a bunch of really good defenders that weren't very good at offense, and a bunch of really good offensive players that were really bad at defense, right? And it just didn't fit well together,
Yeah, that's why we need to start. And,
we need more defensive talent.
we need more defensive talent who can also score. So somebody like we've mentioned, a Jimmy Buckets or a Pascal, or just like pair Pascal and Boucher up with a Dame, that'd be great. But we also do need to figure out who our coach is going to be. And so
we need a coach that's going to put the system together.
It's tough if we're not using like a Chauncey Billups or something. It's going to be tough to find another coach that's already in the NBA. Like, I like the idea of trying to just go throw money at a really good college coach. And since I'm an Oregon fan, as much as it would suck for Oregon basketball, I would really love I would really just love to throw as much money as possible at Dana Altman and say, come to Portland and save this team. Because he is, bar none, the greatest college basketball coach I've ever seen. Like, Coach K is great.
Fletcher.
I don't know about that,
I love Altman.
I was since watching basketball, so like 2010s. Like, Coach K is a great coach, but he's got five-star talent at every position every year.
Yeah.
And freaking
I think
North Carolina coach just
Gonzaga's
retired.
got
I'm missing his
Roy Williams.
Yeah, like Roy Williams. I'm forgetting his name. Five-star talent every year. Even Gonzaga, who has a good coach. Like, even now they're
Mark
getting
Few is a
five-star
really
guys
solid
every
coach,
time.
but I think he does get a little overrated.
Yeah.
Like, obviously they win a ton of games and they're really consistent in the West Coast Conference.
But they're playing against like
they've
St.
never
Mary's.
really shown up against the top tier competition in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
Okay, here's some things though. Is that one, we already know Jason Kidd's out of the race right now. Dan was interested in Jason Kidd.
No disrespect against Kidd, a hell of a player, but I do not like him.
Terrible
as a
coach.
in Milwaukee.
I don't think it would fit. I think people. I thought it was pretty funny. Lakers fans were like taking it like, "Oh, Dame's going to come to the Lakers because Jason Kidd's our assistant coach." No, Dame is not going to the Lakers. Stop.
In
that,
your dreams, bro.
There is 0% chance that will ever
give us
happen.
for Dame? He's under contract.
Yeah,
Lakers
Kuzma's
fans,
our guy.
these
Literally
Lakers fans
trade us-
screaming
trade us-
Kuz and KCP
Trade
for
us
Dame.
LeBron or Anthony Davis, and you might be able to get Dame.
Even
okay?
then, no.
But
Even then, I wouldn't take it.
We're not taking
Dame for LeBron.
THT, Kyle Kuzma, Ben McLemore, and 3 first-round picks, which they don't even have because they gave them all up for Anthony Davis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, it's ridiculous.
it's absolutely outrageous.
So that was after shutting down the Lakers fans because that's annoying. But Dame also really liked Chauncey Billups, and I think I like that fit better than Jason Kidd. Doesn't have a ton of coaching experience. He's been an assistant coach, but he's never been a head coach.
He was in the NBA like
Yeah.
15
Oh
years
yeah.
ago.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell of a player in the NBA too. I mean, he won a championship with that.
Finals MVP with Detroit in
2003, 2004.
He's
Yeah.
good. He was great.
I'm just trying to think. There's a lot of coaches out there, but it's really tough to think. I think whoever comes to Portland, they should be tasked with a couple of major points. And one, figuring out the defense should be our top priority, easily.
Yeah.
Number 2 is just implementing a solid offensive system that will get our best perimeter players, Dame and Norman Powell, open on the perimeter. Like, we really need to work on off-ball movement, and I cannot stress that enough, is that Dame gets double-teamed by far. He's one of the most double-teamed players in the entire NBA, and it's because our system heavily relies on ISO ball. And when you have ISO, it's so easy also to just put another player on him and full court press.
It's just Stott saying Dame go score.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
like-
like as great as Dame is, as amazing of a basketball player he is, there's only so much he can do, but he's got the 2 best defensive players for another team draped all over him the entire game. It's just not going to work.
I mean, this is my example of why off-ball movement is so important. Is look at that look at that Pelicans versus Blazers series. What was it, like 4 years ago? 17, 18?
Yeah, where we lost in the first.
Where we lost in the 4 round, got swept 4-0. It's because they had Anthony Davis, they had Drew Holiday, and they had Rajon Rondo. And I know Rajon Rondo is no longer that type of player, but with the Pelicans, he was still a very solid defender. Very solid defender. Yeah. He was very solid defensively on that 2017-2018 team. But the ISO ball, Dame had a really tough time that series. I think he shot like 37.
That was a
brutal series.
Drew has always really
he's been a tough player for Dame,
defender against Damian Lillard.
But even then, I think Dame is a great player.
He's
Drew's
a star
great player.
defender.
But I don't think
his offense isn't.
Drew single-handedly cannot take Damian Lillard, but with that extra player in there that can get in the hand, like Rondo,
who just
shuts us down.
Picks at the ball.
And not only that, you have Anthony Davis in the paint to watch out for, who's like one of the best defensive players in the league.
Candidate last season.
Like, they had so much defensive talent to stop us. And then you look at that Warriors versus Pelicans series, which happened the one right after that. I think the Blazers won. I mean, not the Blazers. The Warriors won in like 5 games, right?
Yeah.
They were absolutely dominant. I can actually look this series up. Anybody else want to talk about something?
Yeah, no. I do remember that series. They dominated them because the system, Steve Kerr watched the film of the Pelicans versus the Blazers. He saw all their weaknesses and said, Well, they can't double team Stephen Curry
Off the
if
ball.
we just move him off the ball and have him run through off-ball screen after off-ball screen and let Draymond Green pick apart their defense, because Draymond Green is an excellent facilitator of the basketball. And so
Another player we could consider going after, but I think his price is too high.
his price is way too
Way
high.
too
They'd
high.
want us to give up like CJ Nurk and a first for him. And as
Yeah.
much as Draymond Green is a very impactful player,
Very underrated player. I know
he's not worth that.
He has quite the personality, but he is just,
You know, it would be outrageous for us to have to give up CJ Nurk and a pick for someone like Draymond Green. I like him. He's a great defender, great
Draymond's
facilitator,
well past his prime,
but he's
so-
well past his prime.
All right, here's the series with Curry. Curry in this series against Drew Holiday, Rajon Rondo, and Anthony Davis. And don't get me wrong, Curry's the best shooter ever, right?
Yeah.
But you should not be having these numbers so little affected against defenders that are so good. He went and had 48% from the field, 44% from three, despite being, guarded by these players. He went 4.8 for 4.8 from the free throw line, so he's perfect from the free throw line, which doesn't really, change anything, but still. 25 points per game. And I know that's lower for Curry standards, but still.
That's
is that
still
they
very solid.
they had
Still very
such
good. And efficient.
it was so efficient, and it was because they just moved him off the ball.
Didn't they beat the Pelicans in like 5?
That's what I said. They literally beat him in five.
And
which is-
you saw big series from guys like Clay and Dre. They were really good. And who was their center at the time? Was it still Zaza? Or?
I don't even know.
I don't even know.
I think
But
it-
guys
I
around
think it was because I think that was the year Kawhi landed on Zaza.
Exactly.
It was
So I
JaVale
think
too.
It was Zaza and JaVale. So yeah, like other guys stepped up because they tried to focus on Curry so much, and his off-ball movement that it left gaping holes in the defense, and you would find guys like Clay, like Klay Thompson just wide open. Who, when he's wide open, it's like it's a coin toss. 50% of the time it's going in, and that's outstanding. You guys are children.
So to conclude, right? The bottom line is we all feel like the Blazers need to move CJ. CJ's a great player and a great guy, but it's just run its course with him and Dame, and they're not good enough to win a championship with CJ as the two.
It was the right move to move Stotts off this team.
I think so.
Great guy, doesn't fit with us.
Whoever the Blazers end up acquiring as both coach and personnel this offseason, you just have to try to capitalize on these last few years of Damian Lillard's prime while he's still a top 10 player in the league.
Damian Lillard is one of the most talented
We're
players.
never going to get another Dame, man.
Well,
Years.
It's going to be a while.
Who's this loyal, who's this great.
Yeah.
It is just
He
blessed to
is
have.
a
We
top.
have
It's
been
like-
historically snake bitten with draft picks. It is ridiculous. And
It
Dame
was-
is so nice.
He's a fringe top 5 shooter ever. He's one of the best offensive players
I would
ever.
say he is
Only
a top 5
I
shooter.
I put him right there. But he's one of the best shooters ever. There is no one that can shoot the ball like him. And I'm saying Curry's obviously one of the greatest shooters
In the
ever.
fourth
But
quarter.
but
There's
in
no
the
one who
fourth
can shoot
quarter,
from the perimeter.
there is literally no one that can shoot like Dame. And people are gonna be like, "Oh, Dame shot 1 of 9 in the last, game 6 versus the Nuggets." Look at the minutes he was playing. He played 100 minutes in the last 2 games. Yeah, he had 28 to 13. He went 40% from the field, which is, not great. But after playing 100 minutes in 2 days, right? That is absurd.
It takes a toll on a man's body.
Oh, absolutely. But there is no one like Dame. And anyone that says that Dame isn't the clutchest player right now, I dare you. Go watch that performance of the 55 and 10 game. I dare you.
I mean,
just
being the
watch.
clutchest too doesn't just mean that you're objectively clutch. It means you're clutcher than other people. And who are you going to argue for? Curry?
Yeah.
Curry has missed countless game winners, especially in the playoffs. He turned it over with a.
I think he's like 1 of 9. He's like 1 of 9 for all time.
He
in
missed
playoffs.
that game tire in Game 6 against the Raptors. He got a clean look off, not even doubled or particularly tough. I mean, who are you going to say, LeBron? Like, I like LeBron, but
And he's
doesn't
clutch,
have the
but he's-
perimeter shooting skills. Like
Oh,
that.
not even close.
And what just happened to LeBron?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I mean,
Obviously,
you
I
can
don't
try to
fault
argue.
him for losing
I've
the
seen
Suns,
people
but-
try to argue somebody like Kawhi, who's great, but his
I love
offensive
Kawhi. I
game
wouldn't say
isn't
he's
quite
as
as
clutch as
consistent in the fourth quarter in crunch time as Damian Lillard. It's just statistically.
The thing that Dame is the clutchest shooter ever, and I don't think it's close. I think obviously there's guys that you can put up there as being a clutcher player, like MJ,
Jordan.
Kobe,
Yeah,
those kind of players.
Jordan and Kobe more
But
clutch as
the
a player,
things
but
that-
shooting.
The things that Dame does from the 3-point line, they're just remarkable.
Unreal.
It is unreal.
It's
right?
almost not safe.
Anyways.
He scored our last 17 points in that game that we lost, right? In both overtimes.
Only guy
he
who
scored.
made a single shot was Cantor on a putback.
Not only that, he also scored or assisted on 37 of our last
Yeah.
42
What was
points.
it? What was the team through those last 2 overtimes? Like 1 of 14.
It was like 1 of 19, bro. It was
not 1 of 19.
It was horrible.
Regardless,
you guys get the deal. Dame's the GOAT. And
And,
along with Nick.
I mean, look at this.
The point is,
Look at this: 34, 10, 46% from the field, and 45% from three.
Okay.
That's absurd. I'm just saying that. That's why he's talented.
all right,
he's ridiculous.
he's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So, right. Thank you guys for watching. It's good to be back. Boy Fletch, Nick D. Ray, Scott Converts over here. And it's cool that we're having this now on, our Nick's sort of Blazers Instagram as well, kind of expanding. And also make sure to check us out on The Last Word, like Nick mentioned, the YouTube channel link in bio. Thank you for watching. This has been The Last Word.